efforts and attempts to destroy and disappear indigenous culture, these recipes are like receiving a sacred gift that we hold with a lot of honor. And in some of our own local food sovereignty or indigenous food sovereignty organization that serves meals to indigenous elders living in encampments. And as a settler organization, we have a really long way to go. Each year, it's the ongoing relationship that tag on that, it's invaluable. And the work also in these relationships, it reminds us of our treaty obligations as a settler organization, of our duty to create space to highlight, showcase, and protect indigenous culture as allies, and to share our wealth and resources, no matter how meager they are, with our allies and our co-conspirators. And I think about racial justice. There's no way to work in the space of mental health, addiction, and poverty without looking at issues of racial justice. And as an employer, we see justice in the communities that we serve. And so our burdens are shared burdens. And so it's collaboration and interdependence that's fostered through these relationships that really not just lightens the load, but sort of strengthens the net of relationships that ultimately hold all the important work that all of us are trying to do. So the collaborations are deeply meaningful for us on so many different levels, but hope is a huge part of that.
That was very beautiful. I think Dion has started to say something.
Jamaican patty, or go try the shawarma, go try something else, and then come back and tell us what did you think and how it was. And it just was eye-opening for people that hamburger, hot dogs, or like meat and potatoes was the staples. All of a sudden, they're trying different meals, and it was one way just to bring people together to talk about the different.
And what changes are you noticing on the ground with our frontline staff?
Okay, so the one change I do know is that we have indigenous meal on the menu. We need frontline staff to make sure anyone who identifies as indigenous are aware that they can order and get that meal. The great story was from the OPOC survey last year. A group of patients in real time said, you know what? Salt and pepper just is not cutting it. We would like to talk about adding other spices to the menu. This happened in PRT, and Frances and her team is like, you know what? Let's sit down and have a discussion. They talked about it, and it's not on the menu yet, but they were able to have different condiments now in the dining room. So when you're about to eat your meal, you put those condiments on, and it's not just salt, pepper, and ketchup. So we have a very diverse patient population. And I'm hoping that spread, I see John and Jennifer in the audience, I'm hoping that spread through to all the areas of the organization. And the other thing I know, and I've worked with the rec therapists who they will bring in Jamaican food, because one of them made ackee and saltfish and fried dumpling for Caribbean population that's in our forensic program, which I think is just amazing. The rec therapists here, they go above and beyond to bring culture to our patient population. And in PRT, they had the Diversity Day, where all the staff in the program from their traditional
number of these meal, and one of them is indigenous based. They can choose it because they're afraid of racism that are still prevalent, sadly, at all healthcare. And I'm wondering if you could just speak a little bit about that, because that was, I think, a really great point that you shared with me. I want everyone to know as well.
And it's not making the assumption just because someone doesn't identify doesn't mean that they wouldn't benefit or like the opportunity. So if you're handing out a menu and it's like, yes, you can pick from this, then anyone could pick, they are able to without outing themselves, if you know what I mean. So it's a matter of giving everyone the opportunity to choose, and then you can make a choice. And I do know that Indigenous population in Toronto is much larger than the census ever says, because some people are not identifying. They absolutely refuse to identify because of racism, and it's still prevalent, hasn't gone away. Things might be getting better, but it's lived experience is enough to say, hey, they'd like to stay psychologically safe, and we need to make sure they still have that opportunity to have the choice.
Okay, so Toronto. Okay, CAMH. This is very scary for Torontonians. CAMH used to be a place that you could quit cigarette. And I'm telling you, this is a big business. As this is a more information I could get. Being an undercover is not an easy job. It's not to say being an undercover. It's to reveal the truth and how people manipulate the truth. This is only an investment in using the native and the black to do it. Because this is our country, our native land that we stand on. Is a reason why the national anthem is there, to put it inside of our heart, to understand what to stand for. And these people are manipulating us and taking our kids' future away from us. I've been making videos lately talking about whitewash. Don't be offended. Whitewash means colonialize. Means you are blind to see what's happening to you. Because you're only in the moment of the present and not thinking about the future and not looking back at the past. You're thinking about your present as in your pocket to benefit yourself, but not the land or the future for the kids. I'm asking you guys to look into this. I give you all of the names that you need to check up on. Follow the paperwork and the breadcrumbs. Maybe I'll get kicked out soon, but I'm taking my free lunch. You know how I do it, right? So blessed, one love to all of you guys, all right? Can't do this by myself. I hope you guys understand that. Time to be the God in you.
That small indigenous owners have to deal with and unable to thrive in this economy, unfortunately. And the other is thanks for sharing some alternative ways where people can purchase ingredients. That's great.
Yeah, and it's just to add to what you had to say, like identifying greens. Um, when enslaved people were in America, they did not get access to like the best food on the table. They would have to like boil the food, and then the masters, all the nutrients are in the pot water. And in Jamaica, same thing. You boil bananas, you boil pumpkin, you boil everything. Somebody eats the pumpkin, but you had, oh yeah, it was a pot water. It's like, oh, that's all you get to eat. Well, they were the healthiest kids. They were the strongest, which I don't think did them any favor. The other thing I wanted to say, when Jamaicans came to this country, oxtail, they would give it away. Like chicken foot, your chicken back, chicken neck, all that stuff, liver. Now, it's like gourmet and you have to, I don't know, mortgage your house to get oxtail. If anybody knows where there's, okay. It's that's how food is, and I'm just gonna read this. For example, African mac and cheese, collard greens, black eyed peas, they do chitlins, they still do. Even if you're a millionaire, it is cleaned intestines of a pig that they season and eat. It's a delicacy. However, if you ever are in the US when it comes to Thanksgiving and you see that spread on the table, you have grits, you have food that was like dirt cheap one time, but it's still symbolic. And for me, I'm on the sunshine list, but you'll still see in my house there'll be chicken neck, chicken back, sardines. Like that's my comfort food, and it doesn't matter if it's like the cheapest thing you can see in the fridge. It's like, but I still like it. I do not give me chicken without a bone. Like seriously, if you like me, you'll know. For anybody who offers me a chicken breast, I'll know. Just
sold out. And that's always so fantastic to witness. There is a real interest or a hunger, pun intended, for culturally relevant, culturally rich food. And so there's a huge amount of uptake on that, which is awesome. And so this has been a really successful collaboration in the past. And now we can scale up a bit beyond just one day, which is September 30th, or just 1 month. The hope is that we'll be able to bit by bit regularly work a bunch of these recipes into our daily specials, probably into our catering menu. And they become regular menu items for the ones that are really, really popular, like our corn muffins, corn cranberry muffins a couple of years ago. They just sold out like within an hour when people knew we were selling those. And of course, part of that incorporation allies as comrades. And I've heard that, Rick, you're going to be coming and teaching our chefs. That's going to be so wonderful for our staff because, and that's the other thing, you know, a lot of the folks that we employ are people who are deeply marginalized. It's the first job they've ever had in their life. They have no access to education. Many of them are new refugees in the country. So they get to learn things about the culture of this place, new skills, new cooking methods, new ingredients that they've never heard before, like dandelion greens, right? And then that just broadens knowledge and skills and joy in the kitchen. So it's going to be wonderful for them to learn with you, Rick, and we're so grateful. So just very humbled by the generosity in receiving this gift, and we hope to put it to good use for good outcomes.
So for those that don't know, I have an entire file of indigenous recipes on my laptop. And when I was approached to do this project, I offered the entire file to them. I can't even imagine how many recipes there are. Of that, they put some into this cookbook for you to take home. It was an automatic for me. If you're going to teach somebody how to change a tire, you show them the type of tire to put on, you show them when to change it. We're doing food. I want to make sure that not only do you understand that our food's important to us, but in a time of what we have, where food's so expensive, being able to find substitutes for ingredients, being able to modify recipes. My recipes are either collaborations with other chefs or they're things that know that these are tried and true recipes. You can substitute anything from one indigenous ingredient to another indigenous ingredient. Or if there's not an indigenous ingredient, you can put an indigenous ingredient into this recipe. And you have a recipe to follow that will show you how to do that. I think if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. And to do it right was to just offer that to you. Supposed to pass on our knowledge. We're supposed to share that. So I prefer to be called a knowledge sharer at most. I want you to eat healthier. I want you to eat better. I want you to eat food that's easy to make and it's good for you and takes you out of this hamburger, French fry realm that we're in. I can't even punish my kids because they still fight and get McDonald's.
Question for you. I know that we're combining all of this food and everything. I'm from a Jamaican background also, and we do have turkey on the table. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because how are we going to continue this tradition of keeping our traditional food to bring people together? I know that the new generation, my kids definitely want what they see more popular like McDonald's. How are we going to pass this on? Have you thought of how we can pass this on, whether it's in books or what are we doing for the next generation? From not just Jamaican, but indigenous, what are we doing?
Okay, I can share one thing that I do know because I've got 3 kids, mom's got many
That's a good
grandkids.
idea.
So we have these
Awareness,
rituals that
education.
Easter, we have fish.
All right, guys.
There'll be fried fish,
Education, the
escabeche fish,
future
steamed
is
fish,
everything.
but people know that at Easter we're having fish. The rest of the year they can have their Canadian, American, whatever they like. At Christmas, we would jerk the turkey wings because if they like turkey, that might happen. But there's always going to be rum cake. There will be rum cake, and that's what's in the house. So it's not every single day they're eating ackee and saltfish dry foot. All that, they'll go to McDonald's and have what do they have at McDonald's for breakfast? Whatever they have there for breakfast. But we have these times where we come together like
from those cultures. And as you're saying, a lot of those businesses are not as available. What is a good way or resource that we can look out to gain knowledge of traditions of food and how to best expose ourselves to actual authentic food? Because I would love to experience, sounds like you guys have great Thanksgivings. Mine's a ham, which don't get me wrong, my mom works real hard on it. It's very delicious, but would love the opportunity to try some of these things. But as you're saying, those businesses are few and far between and not the same as what you're going to get in those actual cultures. So I'm wondering if you have any suggestions of how those of us, because as you're saying, I'm a recreational therapist. I'd love to offer this to my clients, but I don't have the cultural background to do it as authentically as I would like.
Wow, you
So
guys really do need me. Eh?
I do know there are recipe books
I
that
create
you can have.
a different meal
if
every
you
day.
ask me, I will come and help.
I am a
as
creator.
Well.
I guess people do need my help.
So one of the things
The only
that
problem
you'll
is,
find,
I guess I'm too black.
September 30th,
Or I love
please
God too much.
do not look for an indigenous caterer to come to your events and do a feast for you. Okay? We're tired. I've been a caterer a long time. We're tired of being told that, oh, we got $300 to feed 50 people, and that's all indigenous, and we want to take pictures with you. We're not poster children. Okay?
Bless it.
So there's two things I would recommend, and one is happening. Cafe is going to get recipes. I'm going to go on. We're going to cook together. I'm going to show them the passion I have for our food, and it's going to be a disease in there because they're going to get the same thing, and they're going to be excited every time they cook our food. We're going to call up an indigenous caterer. Don't pick September 30th because we're tired of being told that, oh, we're a photo op for you so that your business looks good, that you're doing what you say you're doing, but you're not really. You just put a picture up, oh, look, orange shirts, okay? Every other day. I have a real issue when it's Black History Month. Every day should be Black History Month, right? Every day should be, yeah. I'm indigenous every day. Why are we picking just one day? Why can't we do this every day? So next week or next month, if you're having an event, have an indigenous chef, have an Afro-Caribbean chef come in. Experience the food. You find authentic caterers. There are lots. Sean Adler's up there.
The question is, when can we see traditional, like indigenous food in OTW?
Well, once we have Rick come in and teach some of those recipes, we want to be able to actually learn from the folks who are not knowledge keepers. I mean, curiosity about food. I had curiosity about saltfish. I didn't know what was in it. And then I discovered that Achian saltfish is a traditional byproduct of trade with Canada. It was caught from Canada that was exchanged for rum from Jamaica. And hundreds of years ago, that relationship was fostered, and now you have a traditional dish. And everything that's been mentioned has that history. So it's about having a curiosity about food, about going out there, spending time actually trying to find out, build relationships with people of color. That is a great way to experience their food. That's a great starting point, is relationships. And through that, they'll recommend the best restaurants to you, and you'll know they're authentic.
And you have us as resources. So I've got
That's
business
pretty.
cards.
Damn.
I'll give you a business card. And we haven't seen each other in 40, 45 years.
Yeah.
This event brought us back together.
Like you
That's
say,
friends.
like you say, Rex, food brings people together, and it brought you and Dion together.
Yeah.
So with that, in our lives in so many different ways, and it's about learning about one's culture and how it's essential to our body, mind, and recipe book and some food on your way out. And last but not least, please remember to complete the event evaluation form.